All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Malden School Committee meeting. Today is Monday, September 8th, 2025. The time is 6:01 p.m. Our next meeting will take place on Monday, October 6th at 6 o'clock p.m. here in the chamber. This evening's agenda will consist of the following. After we pledge allegiance to our flag, have a moment of silence for our veterans, take attendance. This evening's agenda will consist of the following. First will be approval of minutes from June 23rd, 2025, as well as August 7th, 2025. Then we'll get into public comment. This will be an opportunity for members of the public to address the school committee. We only ask that you state your name and address for the record. We're going to allot 15 minutes for public comment, 3 minutes per speaker. Then from there, we'll go to our superintendent. He has 3 items that he will discuss with the committee. First is obviously back to school highlights. Second will be on where we are with enrollment and staffing. And then finally, his vision for the school year 2026 and beyond. After that, we'll move down to subcommittee reports and discussions, which we don't have anything as of now. If that holds, we'll go to motions and resolutions, which will be first. We're going to take up a proposed donation from the Wind Development Company. Ms. Spatafor will speak to that. Then we're going to refer, depending on discussion, competency determination to Policy and Procedures Subcommittee. And as you all know, that's led by Ms. Rose Zyberg. And then finally, we're going to discuss a resolution in support of Bill Senate 2581, an act to promote student learning and mental health. Ms. Spatafor will speak to that. After that, we'll go to personal privilege. That is where members of the school committee will give updates on what's happening in their respective wards. Then we're going to entertain a motion to go into executive session. Pending that vote, we will discuss 5 items. The first is the approval of the June 23rd, 2025 minutes. Second is the approval of the August 7th, 2025 minutes. Item number 3 is going to be where we're going to discuss strategy with respect to SEIU Local 888. And doing so out front would have a detrimental effect on our position, so we're going to do that in executive session. Item number 4 will be similar, except it will be on our non-union personnel. Specifically, the Assistant Superintendent of Student Services, the Assistant Superintendent of Teaching and Learning, the Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources, the Director of Finance and Operations, Accounts Receivable Coordinator, Assistant Business Manager, Data Analyst, System Administrator/Manager, Administrative Attendance, Supervisor, district-wide, the Executive Assistant and School Committee Clerk, Communications Coordinator, our building monitors, of which there are 4, Clerical Welcome Center Manager, Facilities Manager, and then our principals at the BB, ELC, Ferryway, Forestdale High School, Linden, Salemwood. Food Service Operation Manager, most Coordinator, most Site Coordinators, of which there are 3, and then finally the CPPI Grant Administrator. Then after that, everyone will go to the final item in executive session, which is to discuss contract negotiations with non-union personnel as well. This will be in the form of our superintendent of schools. We will then adjourn and come back out here. We may or may not act on some of these items that are on the executive session agenda. And then after that, we'll move adjournment. So any questions, everyone? Got it. The vice chair just informed me that UMA is not up and running, but it's still, is it being recorded that we can share?
Yep, so we're recording at the moment.
So we're recording it. We'll be able to share it after the meeting is over. All right, any other questions? If not, why don't we first rise and pledge allegiance to our flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this point, we ask everyone to remain standing for a moment of silence in honor of all our veterans. Thank you. All right, let's have our clerk call the roll to ensure that we have a quorum sufficient to allow us to gather.
Mayor Christensen,
Here.
Mr. Drummy, Mr. McCarthy,
Here.
Ms.
Mr. Drummy.
Here.
Ms. Spatafora,
Here.
Ms. Macklin, Ms. Horty,
Here.
Here.
Mr. Gray, Mr. Bernard, Ms. Rose Iberg, Superintendent Zippel.
All right, so we have a quorum sufficient to allow us to gather. Where we have members online, we will roll call all our votes. And Madam Clerk, you heard Ms. Macklin's here? Okay. All right, everyone, so let's do this. So the first order of business is the June 23rd, 2025 special session minutes. Motion by Mr. McCarthy. Seconded by Mr. Bernard. Everybody's had a chance to look those over. Any questions of the team? If not, let's call the roll.
Mr. Drummy,
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy? Yes. Ms. Spatafora?
Yes.
Ms. Macklin?
Yes.
Ms. Horty?
Yes.
Mr. Gray?
Yes.
Mr. Bernard? Yes. Ms. Rose Iberg? Yes. Mayor Christensen?
Yes, that carries unanimously. Now, August 7th, 2025. Motion by Mr. Bernard, seconded by Mr. McCarthy. Any questions on those, everyone?
Mr. Drummy?
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy? Yes. Ms. Spatafora?
Yes.
Ms. Macklin?
Yes.
Ms. Horty?
Yes.
Mr. Gray? Yes. Mr. Bernard? Yes. Ms. Rose Iberg? Yes. Mayor Christensen?
Yes, those carry unanimously. All right, everyone, let's do public comment. So again, this is an opportunity for members to address the public. We only ask that you state your name and address for the record. Public comment is now open. Or not. We're okay with that, too. Anybody wishing to address the school committee? Anybody online, Ms. Spatafora?
So if you are participating via Teams tonight, we ask that you just use the raise hand function if you would like to participate in public comment.
Okay. All right, we're going to close public comment. Let's go to our superintendent, and let's hear from him. There are 3 items again.
Well, welcome back, members of the committee, Mr. Chair, and everyone here in person, and everyone watching online. Welcome back to the 2025-2026 school year. Really glad to be here with you tonight and to share an update on some of the great things that have happened as we started this school year. As we always do, just want to remind everyone of the core values that guide our work every day. That we include and we collaborate with all of our stakeholders, with our students, with our families, to make sure that people have a voice in decisions that impact them. We affirm the capacity of every child to grow and get smarter, the better we teach them. And for all of our educators, for our families, for our staff, all of us to get stronger as we work at it and as we commit to work together. And really the most important is to do right by all of our kids, those that have advantages coming in and those that lack advantages, no matter where they come from, what language they speak. We are committed to doing right by all of our kids. And the theme that we touched on during our opening, and we've been talking about a lot, is this idea that we all have strengths individually, but that together, working together, we're much stronger as a collective. This Strong Alone, Stronger Together, again, I'm going to be talking about back to school highlights, sharing about our staffing, enrollment, and operational updates, and reminding us about the vision that we're going into this school year with, and also the themes that we're going to be talking about together over the course of the year. So one exciting, we got the school year off really to a great start when we had over 55 educators who joined our ranks as in Malden Public Schools during the 18th and 19th of August. And Assistant Superintendent Kamal Basin and all of our curriculum directors, our Director of Finance and Operations, Tony Mertz, our Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources, Assistant Superintendent of Student Services, and a lot of community members from around Malden welcomed all of these new educators at the gym at Malden High, Finn Gymnasium. And it was a very festive atmosphere. Our union was there in support and welcoming the educators. And folks were just like, wow. I heard teachers from other districts who said, I didn't get this kind of welcome in my previous district. And they spent 2 days with us. They learned about all of our procedures. They learned about how we're approaching instruction. They got to meet people who could share with them the nuts and bolts of the curriculum they'll be teaching, how to take attendance. They met with the union also. It was a great, great 2 days, and I'll share a little bit more about that a little bit later. We had our opening day, and some of you were able to be there that day to hear the mayor speak, which was great. We had our union president, we had student speakers, we had our guides from Ferryway, young men and women who were dressed in green vests, who were welcoming all of our educators back for the year. We had the step team, we had the chorus, we had a band from Malden High. We had so many students participating, students from Linden who led us in the Pledge of Allegiance that day. And we had 7 amazing students, Malden High School students, who shared in a panel discussion with our Assistant Superintendent Basin ways that they had been challenged and encouraged to do things that they didn't think they could do, ways that educators made that happen for them. And also they gave advice for all of our educators as they start the new year. And it was a wonderful, wonderful day. As you can see some photos there, that's just the courtyard at the high school, and all of the folks were there for breakfast, and just, again, a very festive, upbeat atmosphere that first day. The following day, we had a district-wide professional development, which was also at the high school, mainly in the morning. We had 46 sessions for our educators, one session in the early morning and one session mid-morning. And these sessions were led by our assistant principals. They were led by our directors. They were led by our instructional coaches. And again, the mood was upbeat. The feedback we got from educators was that the overwhelming majority said that it was a very good use of their time. They felt encouraged by the tools that they were given to take back to their classrooms and to impact their students' learning. A great, great, great day, and we'll be having more professional development later in the year. And then we had the show actually start on the 27th, and the mayor and I and Vice Chair Spadafora had a chance to visit all of the schools where students started that day. I know a member, Rose Iberg, was able to join us at Linden, and then we had the new Commissioner of Education, Pedro Martinez, joined us for a visit to BB at the end of our tour, if you will. And at every single building, There was excitement. Every single building, students were pumped to be back. Educators were excited to have the students back in their classrooms. And I have to say, there were several times when we stopped to ask a principal, wow, I don't remember that educator. Where do they come from? And so, oh, we hired them back in March. And they came to us from XYZ district, or they came to us from this school of education, and this is their first position. But they were hired by the district back in the spring. And I'll speak more about that in just a moment. This past Thursday, we had our first day of preschool and kindergarten. The ELC was a very, very festive atmosphere. All those 3- and 4-year-olds so excited to be back in school. And then all of our kindergartners starting school that day. Most of the tears I saw shed, I must say, were those of parents, not students. The students were pretty excited. They'd been to orientation. They were already familiar with their teacher. The parents were the ones who were having a little bit more trouble letting go in many cases. But it was a great, great second opening day for this school year. So all of that, I just want to talk about some of the things behind the scenes that have made all of this possible. And one is staffing. So you all will remember that we did something a little bit unusual. We started way back in the winter working as a cabinet, working with our principals, planning very, very carefully to identify what positions we thought were going to become vacant for this school year. And we pushed to confirm those openings to the greatest degree possible so that we could post those positions in March, when most educators, the most educators, are actually applying for jobs. And we were very successful in attracting a great cohort of educators to join the ranks of the great educators we already have here in the Malden Public Schools. I mentioned this picture here is another picture of orientation. Another feature of orientation that day, the second day, where each principal came and sat with the teachers in the courtyard to get to know them and to learn a little more about the school that they were going to be working at, reporting to the following week. Every single classroom position that we have in the district is staffed. There are a couple of positions here and there that are not I'm not sure what that is. There are a couple of positions here and there that we're still finalizing, but every student has a teacher in front of them in their classroom in every building at this time, and we're really excited. And this is especially important for our special education and our ESL classes. As you'll remember, last year we had a number of those classrooms that were not filled, and those classrooms are all filled at this time. And I just want to shout out our the entire cabinet, the Assistant Superintendent Sarah McLaughlin, tremendous work with her team, all of the principals, screening those applicants, interviewing people throughout the spring, throughout the summer, checking those references, and trying to secure those people for our students here in Malden first. And again, we've just got a great, great, great cohort of teachers that have joined the ranks of Malden Public Schools, and they're so excited, and they've been received so warmly by all of the educators that are continuing with us. So tremendous, tremendous work, and I'm so proud of the work that's been done there. Here's another one. You'll remember we talked a lot last year about the challenge that our high school had been struggling with for many years, which was directed studies. And this is a feature, a way that we were able to cope with the limit to the number of classes that our students often were able to take. So students would have, instead of 7 classes, which is a full schedule, they would only have 6, they might only have 5, and they would be assigned a directed study to fill the gap and have a place to go. But those directed studies were not credit-bearing. They were just places where they could be monitored and be safe, but they were not really learning anything new. This school committee, thank you, approved a budget that allocated several new positions to the high school in fine art, in world language, in ESL, and special education. And the net result of that was more than 25 additional classes were added to the master's schedule at the high school. We had our teacher leaders who had traditionally only taught 2 classes instead of 5. Each of them picked up a 3rd class, which added another 5 classes to the master's schedule. We also, I just want to shout out Principal Mastrangelo. I want to, again, commend Director of Guidance Aaron Craven, Ann O'Connor, who's one of our counselors at the high school. They spent many hours with me through the spring, through the summer, really looking at that schedule and really making sure we were crafting it in a way that would meet the needs of all of our students. We had some critical support from an external partner called Timely to really help us to make sure that we got it right. And they spent many hours working on things without me. I'm just really, really grateful for everything that they did, our directors, our counselors, our teachers, the teacher leaders, my cabinet, everyone really collaborating to get the best possible schedule we could. And as I walked around the halls of the high school last Thursday morning, I asked student after student after student, so how many classes do you have? 7. How many classes do you have? 7. How many classes do you have? 7. Every single one of them. We do have some students who have some unique scheduling needs, who are taking a number of advanced courses or college-level classes, either in advanced placement or through dual enrollment, early college. And we are looking to accommodate them, to allow them to either come late or leave early for one period so that they can work and better manage that workload. And then we're also looking at our seniors who have who are already on track for graduation and have a good handle on their grades. If they're working part-time, making an accommodation for them so that they don't have to take 7 classes if they don't need all 7 classes to graduate. So those are things that we're working through. But again, this is just a huge, huge accomplishment, and I just want to thank everybody who contributed to make that happen, because it is a palpable difference at the high school when everyone has a place to go, and it's a meaningful place to be. All right, I want to look at enrollment. So this is just a snapshot from last Friday. So this is the Friday after Labor Day from 2024 and the Friday after Labor Day from 2025. And you'll see that the enrollment in many cases is fairly level, but also a little bit lower this year so far. And I'll speak more about that in just a moment. This is an enrollment by grade and by school. So you'll see the totals are down the right side of this table, and then the totals for each of the grade levels goes, in the columns as they go across, and then the grade level totals are at the bottom. What I'll say about this is that the currently, as of today, and this is even more up to date than that is, we have 175 students, fewer students, on day 7 this year relative to what we had day 7 last year. So as of today, 175 less. However, there are 112 new students who are in the pipeline who haven't fully gone through the entire registration process, but they've already started it. They're just waiting for vaccinations, or they're waiting for some other testing or some other documents that need to be submitted to make their enrollment final. But 112 students. But we also have students who haven't shown up that we were expecting to show up, and our schools are actively following up with those families to find out where they are and make sure that they're coming to school. So obviously, this is a critical importance for all of us. It's important for the students. It's also important because our Chapter 70 funding from the state is based on our October 1st enrollment. And we want to make sure that every student is in school, every student is counted well before October 1st. And so we're very, very actively working on making sure that happens. One other update I want to share about is communications. A lot of you who are listening, who are watching, have been getting updates from Parent Square. So far, the feedback that I've heard has been 100% positive. People feeling very, very happy with the consistency of the communication across our schools, but then also just the ability to get messages in their preferred language. We have over, I think, 30 languages that messages are going out through Parent Square, and if it's just based on the language that the parent selected when they enrolled their child, that home language is the language they're getting the messages in. 45% of our caregivers have registered their Parent Square accounts, and why that's important is that allows them to fill out field trip forms online. It allows them to fill out any number of, to interact more easily with the school, and also to set their preferences. If they don't want to get that call when the superintendent calls, they could disable that, and I think, hopefully I'm not misspeaking, sort of. They also can decide whether they want to get the messages instantly or if they want to get them as a part of a digest. That's what I would prefer, so I'm not getting tons of emails throughout the day, but I'm getting one email at the end of the day. These are all features of Parent Square that have been really, really well received. I will say one thing that all of our parents should expect is that starting this coming Monday, they'll be getting daily attendance calls. If their child was late to school or if their child was absent, I believe about 8:45 is when that call is going to be going out so that they are aware if their child is not in school. And starting on September 22nd, the following week, our Malden High School parents and caregivers will be getting messages for each class period that their child is late or absent, because sometimes they may be present at the beginning of the day, but then they may miss a class. Oftentimes there's a very good reason for that, but sometimes there isn't, and it's always a good place for the conversation between the caregiver and the child, or the student rather, to find out what happened. All right, I'm going to stop there for a moment, or should I just carry on for a couple more? Okay, great. So just a reminder, for this coming year, we're talking about areas for collective action that came from my findings through my entry findings last year. Our strategy for improvement this year, what were the general themes we're going to be engaging in to talk about the future, and just wrap it up with, again, stressing and emphasizing that we're stronger together than we are alone. These were 6 areas for collective action that came up through all of my entry findings last year, all of the town hall meetings, all of the listening sessions with staff, all of our surveys, the need to affirm high expectations for all students, the need to adapt instruction to meet diverse needs, the need to ensure fair access to opportunity, regardless of what school students attend and regardless of what group they may fall into, to make sure that they all have access to opportunities, to partner with our families more effectively, to nurture a strong workforce among our educators and staff, and to build our strength and stability as a district, both our physical facilities, but also our financial resources. Our strategy for improvement this year, and what all of our schools are focused on, is making sure that all of our students, including our multilingual learners and our students with disabilities, are doing the heavy lifting in classrooms, that they're talking about meaningful things, that they're engaged in reading and writing, that they're debating ideas, that they're sharing feedback with one another, and that they're really doing, there's evidence that they're doing thinking, meaningful thinking in every single class, every single day. And we have lots of structures that we're putting in place in terms of teacher collaboration, and professional development to make sure that that's happened and that's supported, and that no educator feels like they're alone in doing that, but they're stronger as they're working together with their colleagues. And then also we're looking for support in both English, language arts, literacy, and math to provide intervention support for skills that students need, and building that into the schedule very intentionally and strategically to make sure all students have access to that. In our school improvement plans that were approved by the committee in June, those school improvement plans are all aligned with this district-wide priority to see students succeed. Then the 5 areas that we talked about again in the spring, and I just want to bring these before the committee again, where we are also wanting to engage in conversation about advanced learners. We're implementing the honors credit option in our middle school grades that's outlined in our handbook, but we want to make sure that all of our advanced learners have access to instruction that's challenging them and helping them to grow. We want to look at preschool and early learning. We're engaged in our partnership through the Commonwealth Preschool Partnership Initiative to just look at the needs of our community. We also want to make sure that our preschool programs and our early learning center are sustainable for the long term. We are wanting to look at digital literacy, and I know there's a lot of talk about artificial intelligence right now, and concern about what that's going to mean for our students and making sure that they're prepared for a world in which that's more and more and more impacting our culture and our economy and our lives. Expanding access to the performing arts is another theme. And then finally, high school and post-secondary success. We've laid a great foundation at the high school for this year to really strengthen the program that we're offering to our students there. We want to continually ask and engage our students and our families and our broader community to make sure that our students are being prepared for everything that they might want to do after high school. And all of that, I'll be coming to the committee with more information and more updates about opportunities for the community to engage in these conversations in October. But I just wanted to highlight that these are the things that are continuing to guide us and to lead us as we head into the school year. So with that, alone of each of us is strong, but together we are much stronger. And so with that, I'll yield you my time. Thank you.
So for those of you who don't know, I began the school committee in 1998. I did 5 years there before joining the city council and then coming back on the school committee in 2012, virtual of my role as mayor and being chair here. So altogether about roughly 20 years serving on the Malden School Committee. This could be the best superintendent's report I've ever heard during that time. Thank you. I was just talking with the vice chair. I mean, it's not any one item. It's multiple items, from staffing to Malden High School to communications. And he didn't even include what has happened down the street with that Welcome Center. That has been completely transformed. When I visited that 2 weeks ago, I just could not believe what it was and what it is now. And I probably should pause there to thank Eric Rubin, our public facilities director, who made that his number. Well, he didn't have a choice. That was his #1 project. But I don't want to speak for all the members, but this is remarkable. And I just want to compliment you and your team for, again, what I consider to be one of the, I think, the greatest report I've ever heard during my time on the school committee.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I just want to say that what this slide says about all of us being stronger when we're working together, it really is true, because from every educator in every one of our buildings, all of our administrators, all of our families, I really feel like we are rowing in together, and we're going to have differences. We'll have differences. But definitely we're finding ways to collaborate and to work together, to listen to one another. And because of that, we're delivering results.
I would hate to end, but I have to with this one caveat, though. It's all about funding. So again, we cannot lose sight of our position today and what we need to do to sustain this great work. So more to follow, but for now, I'll turn it over to any members who have questions of our school superintendent. Let's first go to my right. Is the light on?
Thank you. Dr. Sippel, I have a few questions. So
Thank you.
can we go back to enrollment first?
Yes.
That's okay. So you said 175 less students today than were there last year. And that's for the whole district? Yes?
That's correct.
Okay.
And just to clarify, we were looking at a day-to-day comparison. So last year we had Labor Day, and then we had Election Day, a preliminary election on the Tuesday after Labor Day, and we had a PT that day. So we had one fewer day of school last year, but there were 174 more students in our schools that day than there were the same time this year.
Do we have any idea why that might be? Do we keep data about that?
So it's, again, it's early. It's still early. And what I mentioned earlier about our schools following up with families, I know that there are spreadsheets that are being populated with, as each family is spoken with, schools are entering information to let us know, oh, this student actually moved to a different community. This family, we are still trying to locate, still trying to make contact with them. But that follow-up is happening right now. Okay. And those students who have not yet shown up are offset on the other side by the 150 plus students who are enrolling and just aren't fully registered yet. Okay.
I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the district-wide communications as well.
Yes.
I am a Parent Square user. I'm sure a lot of you are all as well. I've heard absolutely nothing but wonderful things. People are very happy with it. It's incredibly easy to use. It's very easy for parents and students to access their teachers, ask questions. It's also really a nice way to, I feel like, effectively have the principal send out messages. So a couple questions that came to mind on your page on communication. If we have 45% of caregivers who are registered and like actively using their account, what are we doing either as a district or as an individual school to reach out to the folks that aren't using the account yet? Obviously, we're really at the very beginning of the school year, so I'm sure that there are some people who just haven't gotten to that on their list of back to school things yet. But is there a plan to push that out, especially in terms of people who English maybe isn't their first language?
So thank you for that question. And I neglected to give a quick shout out to Tess Mahar, who's our communications coordinator, who has been visiting all of the schools to make sure educators are feeling comfortable with the platform also and can use it well. I should just clarify that parents don't have to register their account to receive information from the school. So they'll get emails to the email that we have on record. They'll get phone calls to the phone number that we have on record. They'll get text messages to the text number that we have on record. But they won't be able to set preferences, which of those they prefer, or with what regularity they get messages. They'll be a little bit more just receiving things without being able to set those preferences. And if, for example, a parent, their child registered back, who knows, when they were in 3rd grade and now they're a 10th grader, and back then their preferred language that they put on their form was Arabic, but now they prefer to receive messages in English, If they register their account, they'll be able to adjust those settings on their own without having to ask anyone to help them with it. So those are the kinds of features, and if they register their account, they'll be able to actually fill out forms online through the app or on the website instead of having to do paper forms. So it's more convenience, but they'll still get communications from the school even if they don't register their account.
I'm just thinking about how at the beginning of school, especially for elementary students, it does feel like here's, the homework is the parents for the first couple weeks. So I just want to make sure we can get that information out to as many people as possible so they can be doing that.
Yes.
Because I do think when we're asking 8-year-olds to bring home a permission slip, it doesn't, or a form, it doesn't always get there in the best condition for a parent. So if they can complete it a different way, that's helpful. Thank you for that. I have another question. Period attendance calls for Malden High. That feels like a Herculean task. Keeping track of that and the phone and the auto calls that might go along with this. Who's responsible for that? And also, if my student, let's say, misses period 5 today, I think they had period 5 today, when will I know that they've missed period 5? Will all those calls go out at the end of the day so that then I can say, where were you this morning? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
So again, I'll speak as a parent from another district that uses Parent Square, and this feature is already locked and loaded, so to speak. It's already working. And fortunately, I don't have those calls or those messages often, but it'll be a text message, usually at the end of the day, that will let me know that my child was late to period 2, or absent. Say, hey, what happened? Oh, I was seeing my counselor and my teacher didn't mark me present or something. Those kinds of things happen all the time. Or they went on a field trip and the teacher, the remaining teacher, didn't remember that they were on a field trip. But those calls will go out at the period attendance calls will go out at the end of the day with like a summary of the periods that their student was late or absent during that day. But the absent from school call will go out in the morning so that there's an alert to that and they can find out where their child is.
Okay. I also really wanted to commend you and your staff on the scheduling and the giant task that you had for moving that all around so that there are no longer any directed studies. I will tell you that as a member of this committee, the biggest maybe criticism, I'm not sure if that's the right word, or issue that people had with their high school students was directed studies. So the fact that students are in classes now and participating in, from my understanding, from my own perspective as a parent, lots of different electives that maybe weren't available in the same way before have become more available, which I think is fantastic. We go to school to learn, but there's lots of different ways of learning. It's not just math and science and ELA. It's great to hear about, media production class and art and things like that. So I want to really give you guys kudos for that, because that was definitely a big task. And I just had one more thing to say. Sorry, everyone. About your strategy for this school year. I think I know a concern that parents have, and I know you said we'll talk more about this, is digital literacy, especially in terms of AI, and I'm glad to see that that's on your agenda for us to be talking about going forward. I know that that's come to my attention as well as member Rose Iberg's. So we look forward to talking more about that in the future, about how we can make sure that we're doing the right thing for kids to help them learn how to use it appropriately, as well as not giving them carte blanche access to it. And just one last thing, math. I'm always going to talk to you about math, because you mentioned math and intervention on the priority for support, but I want to see just a little bit more math related in our visioning. I know we're focusing right now on literacy, But I just hope that this year we can bring math up to the same attention. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Horty. Let's go to Mr. Gray.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is concerning one of the things that our awesome superintendent brought up in today's presentation, the advanced learners. As people on the committee know, in years past, I've been at the center of some of the large debates concerning the advanced learners. This isn't for something to be answered now, but what I'd like to hear, say maybe in October or November school committee session, is if we have any kind of stats or information on how well the advanced learners honor system's doing, I'd like to request that that be part of a future superintendent debate, because I don't know if that program's been around long enough to compile good data, but if it has, you know, we probably want to, parents might want to know. That's pretty much it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gray. Let's go to Ms. Spatafora next.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We're not page numbered, but under your district-wide staffing updates, and I do want to say kudos because I was with you that day. We were walking through the school, and I think it was Principal Stahl had indicated that the teacher we were meeting with was hired in March. So I think it's really important that we are getting out and doing that work really early on to ensure that we're getting the best of the best, and making sure those classrooms are filled. So to that, you say all classrooms are staffed with 2 positions pending. But when I do go to the Malden Public School employment page, there are a couple positions out there that I don't know if they're long-term sub positions, but they don't say long-term sub.
Okay.
One is for our autism program at the Salem Wood. It's a special ed position. There is an ILP position at Ferryway, also a special ed. And then a grade 1 at the Ferryway. So I'm just curious, when we say all classrooms are staffed, are these projected as somebody maybe potentially taking a parental leave or a leave of absence that we're looking to the future? Or did we potentially lose an educator that decided to take a job in another district last minute?
Right. I believe those 3 positions are all filled. Yes.
Okay.
And
So we just have to update our website.
Yes. The positions that, the teaching positions that I was referring to, we have a retirement at one school that's coming at the end of September.
Yep.
And we have yet to hire the replacement who will be taking that position when that educator deserves their retirement. And they're going to take it at the end of September, and we want to make sure we have an educator to take that place. And then we have there's a music position at another school, and the school is currently found a way to schedule things so that the students are okay, but that's the music position that was in the budget, and we want to make sure that we have access to that for those students also. So, and that interviews are happening this week, I heard. So it's those, but all of the core instructional classes and practically every exploratory class also are filled.
Fantastic. Ms. Horty asked a lot of my questions on Parent Square, which was great because I'm loving Parent Square. Do you know, and I think this is almost like a parental question as well, because some of us special needs parents have anxiety when the phone rings, so we would prefer maybe a text message instead, because usually a phone call is like something's maybe amiss.
Right.
So are you able to only select?
So I think Tess Mahar, the genius behind all of this, can speak to this a little bit better than I can.
Yeah.
Please.
So for the attendance calls, at least for the first couple weeks, we have it set up to send an email, a text, and a call. We can calibrate that. We can set any of those check marks on or off for the attendance. For everything else, the only way you're gonna get a call is if we send something called an alert. There's two versions of it. One's an urgent alert. That would be if we had to close school or if there's some other emergency, in which case you're gonna get everything. Otherwise, our smart alerts do work where we send you a text first, and if for some reason our system deems you have a landline in there for something and you're not gonna get that text, then it'll call you as backup. So we're still playing with the attendance settings. We're planning to launch it next week. If last year we had phone calls going out, so we don't wanna take away a feature that parents were used to. But if we get a lot of feedback saying, hey, now we have this new system, it can text me, I just need the text, we can totally work with that too.
Yeah, I definitely, if a phone call works best for a parent, then I think I would just like to see an option. So you could opt in or opt out. Like, I'm good with just text messages. I don't need a phone call unless someone's actually picking up the phone to call me. But was just curious on that, so thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you, Tess.
And then, and I don't know, maybe Tess, sorry. It's on Parent Square as well, and it's just when we talk about the each period, does that also include SSC? So if there is a teacher that's absent for the day and the student's expected to go to SSC, and we're doing attendance there, and they skip SSC, will the parents be notified for that as well?
If attendance is taken in the class, so the way the system pulls data out of our student information system is it needs to have an active mark of tardy or absent next to the student's name for that period for it to go through as a call. So if the student has actively been marked tardy or absent, it'll work. But that's probably a question for you too.
So with and again, it's a very different world now with no directed studies. So the students who would be in that student study center would be students, if we have a situation where we don't have a sub for a class or no one to cover, then students would report there. When they do, and again, this is a new world with Parent Square, but the attendance is taken usually on a roster there, and then it's transferred into Aspen, our SIS. As long as that happens early enough in the day, then the system will automatically trigger the period absence call.
Yeah, right now the period absence data is set to be pulled out of the system at 2:25. So hopefully all the periods for the day will have their attendance taken for that. The daily attendance is different, that's getting pulled first thing in the morning, but the period attendance won't be pulled till the end of the day.
Okay, and that daily attendance is based on first period that they go into?
That's right.
Okay. Thank you, that's all I have on Parent Square. Thanks, Tess. And then just finally, to Ms. Horty's question on the 45% registered, I think we have some parent nights coming up, and it would be
That's right.
fantastic if we
I
had
was
some
gonna say that.
QR codes
Yes.
around the schools for parents to scan and be able to register. Priority for support was on page, you might get to it before me. There we go.
Yeah.
Just curious why we're only targeting K through 8 in interventions when we do know that our graduation rates have gone down. So I don't know why that wouldn't just be district-wide.
That's a great question. I think one way to think about it is if everything is a priority, then we don't really have priorities. I know that may land not well, but this was crafted with our elementary and middle school students in mind, because in particular, as we remember from last year, we had our literacy as a concern, students who, for whatever reason, were entering 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade without foundational literacy skills, and finding a way within our school day to be very intentional about providing that foundational phonics literacy skill for those students so that as they can, first of all, be successful in their classes at the grade level they're in and be fully prepared for high school and beyond. We've also looked at mathematics. I know you asked about mathematics, both of you have over time. And so within the mathematics block at the elementary level, there is a portion of time that is available to teachers for intervention in math also. And we've got some new resources for teachers to use the data that they're collecting from the students' results, from their outcomes, and be able to provide that targeted mathematics support within the day also. It's not a full block where students are moving around like we have in literacy, but it is within the class an additional support. We do have support at the high school as well, particularly for students with disabilities. Many of you are aware, we have classes for literacy, we have classes for numeracy that students have in their IEPs that they're taking alongside the grade level classes that they're in. We do have this year in development, the students have not yet been assigned to it because we're still doing, beginning assessment, but we do have a class, actually multiple classes for students, for example, who may have been unsuccessful in 9th grade English, an opportunity for them to take 9th and 10th grade English in tandem and get caught up with their peers. We have, I believe, a math strategies course that's still in the schedule and students are being scheduled for. We have a literacy workshop class that's also been built into the schedule. And again, so these are things that are being done at the high school level also. It's just not as, sorry, I keep on hitting that thing. It's not as system-wide as what we're doing in K-8. And we're doing that in a more consistent way, K-8 as well. And I think
That's all I have.
Okay,
Thank you.
anybody else?
Oh, can I make one more comment, Madam Vice Chair? Just that with our new contract, what was enrichment is now extension. And so there's an additional 40 minutes that every class has, every 8 days, with students, and teachers are clear that how they're expected to use that time, and students are clear that this is an extension of their regular class. Attendance is being taken for those classes also in a way that was a lot looser in the past. And so that's another intervention piece that we have at the high school.
Thank you. I just want to make sure our other members that are joining us remotely don't have any questions before the chair may move on. So Mr. Drummy, Ms. Macklin, if you guys have any questions, I can pin you. No, we're good.
All right, Superintendent, once again, well done, truly.
Thank you, and thanks to everyone, all of our staff for making it happen. It's been a great year so far. We got a lot to look forward to.
All right, everyone. So I don't see anything under subcommittee reports and discussion. So let's hop to motions and resolutions. Ms. Spatafora, Wind Development Company donation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is an easy one, but a very generous one. So I'd like to make a motion that the committee accept a $6,000 donation from the Wind Development Company for the class of 2025's prom expenses.
Okay, so the motion's been made. Madam Clerk, do you have the second?
It was Mr.
McCarthy. All right, discussion. Ms. Horty.
That's a wonderfully generous gift, Ms. Spatafora. Is this a regular occurrence? Do we have any idea where this wonderfully generous gift is coming from and why?
Nope, they just wanted to contribute. They're doing, they're in Malden. They want to be a community partner.
I love that. Thanks.
All right, everyone. No other questions? Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Dromey, if you could unmute yourself?
Yes.
Oh. Can you turn on her mic so they can hear her?
Stand by.
Mr. Drummy?
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy? Yes. Ms. Spatafora?
Yes.
Ms. Macklin? Ms. Horty?
Yes.
Mr. Gray? Yes. Mr. Bernard? Yes. Ms. Rose Iberg? Yes. Mayor Christensen?
Yes, that carries unanimously. All right, everyone, item number 2, refer competency determination of policy and procedures subcommittee. Ms. Rose Syberg.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This will be a motion, just as it says, to refer competency determination to the Policy and Procedures Subcommittee. A very, very brief history. So in November 24, when using MCAS to determine competency was voted out, the school committee then approved a policy in February to address those issues and come up with the guidelines that we were going to be using, knowing full well that the state would eventually come out with new guidelines, which they have done. So that time is upon us now to get these in. We have to have it submitted by the end of December. So it's important that we get it into policy. And in discussions with the superintendent, we're looking at a date of around wanting to definitely have our first meeting, get ready policy, before October 15th. And we will be working with the superintendent in his office with their recommendations to see how the state is coming out and then how we will put that into implementation here in Malden.
Okay, motion made, seconded by Ms. Horty. Any questions, everyone? Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Drummy?
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy? Yes. Ms. Spatafora?
Yes.
Ms. Macklin? Ms. Horty? Yes. Mr. Gray? Yes. Mr. Bernard? Yes. Ms. Rose Iberg?
Yes.
Mayor Christensen?
Yes, that carries unanimously. And finally, resolution in support of Bill Senate 2581, an act to promote student learning and mental health. Ms. Spatafora.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So for the community members and parents, caregivers that are watching, there is a bill that actually passed, it has been approved, passed through the Senate. It is now at the House level, and it's in regards to cell phone use in our schools. And I've had some discussions with our superintendent. We have a policy that is in our manual that was established back in 2023 that is, I'm sorry?
Working well.
Working well,
Yeah.
exactly. It was constructed with the students in mind to make sure that cell phone use is not a disruption, but at the same time, we are treating, especially our high school students, at a level of maturity that is expected at this age to prepare them to go on into wherever it may be, the workforce, college, but wherever, this level of responsibility and understanding when's the right time to use your phone and when is not. So the bill that is out, and they have been working diligently on it, Senator Lewis, it's being reworked. When it first came out, it was really tough. They wanted a bell-to-bell, no cell phones whatsoever. As it has moved through, they have amended. It has gotten a little bit more lenient. But the resolve that I would like to put forth, and I can read it into the record, really circles around districts being able to determine what works best for their schools and making sure that we know that there are policies needed, but also that we know our district best. We know our students best.
Well said, well said. Let's read it.
Whereas the Massachusetts State Legislature is considering passage of Bill S-2581, an act to promote student learning and mental health. And whereas Bill S-2581 would require school districts to implement policies prohibiting cell phone usage and the actual possession of personal electronic devices during the school day and during school-sponsored activities during the school day. And whereas the Malden School Committee adopted policy JICJ governing cell phone use on December 3rd, 2023, that ensures personal electronic devices do not pose a distraction to students during instructional time. And whereas the Malden School Committee believes that a blanket bell-to-bell policy undermines the important work of helping high school students develop their own maturity in managing their use of cell phones and other forms of technology. And whereas the Malden High School has over 70 languages spoken by our students, and electronic devices have allowed our English language learners to communicate effectively with their English-speaking peers. And whereas our young adults in the Malden Public Schools have shown they are capable of putting phones away when their use is inappropriate, and that establishing boundaries with technology is an important part of students' development, and they should be allowed to grow in this way. Therefore, be it resolved that the Malden School Committee supports S2561, an act to promote student learning and mental health, as usage of cell phones during school hours is a valid concern. However, this committee believes local school committees and boards should retain the autonomy to determine how best to address this issue within their communities, and urges the Massachusetts legislature to amend Bill S2581 as a one-size-fits-all policy is not an appropriate solution.
All right, there you have it, everyone. So motion made, seconded by Mr. Gray.
Second.
All right, any questions of the team? And if adopted, Madam Clerk, you'll send it to the legislative delegation. Let's go to Ms. Horty first.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to clarify. This is saying we agree with a cell phone policy, but we're asking permission to determine more details for our students, right? Just like as a general overview.
We are asking the state legislators, as they push this forward, to create a bill that states we must have a policy, but it is up to the districts to determine the policy that works best.
Okay.
So if a district says, we think that a bell-to-bell policy is what is best for us, then so be it. If Malden decides a out-of-sight policy works and students can have it, they can be seen with it at lunchtime or in passing. But we're saying create a bill or amends the current bill to ensure that the district has the autonomy to create what is best for them.
I just wanted to make that
Yeah.
clear to me and anyone else who might be listening that wasn't sure.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next, we're going to hear from Mr. Bernard.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is really more of a comment than a question. Just that I'm going to go and vote in support of this because in previous years when I've gone out and met the community, there have been several times where someone has gone and said, I've removed my kid from one school system and put them into the Malden school system, and the change is remarkable that they go and they say that all the kids put away their phones and I can concentrate, and this is from the kids, I can concentrate on actually learning, whereas in other systems that is not the case. So I think that we do need to go and retain some, some control, and it would be absolutely okay that, if things changed in 5 years, that we have the ability to go and change that policy to say, hey, you don't have to put your phones away, or we're going to go to bell because it's suddenly become a big distraction. But for that, I'm going to go and vote yes and leave the wording as exactly as it's written.
Okay, thank you. And now over to Ms. Rose Zyberg.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I also do support this. I will be supporting the resolution, but also wanted to, I have heard from constituents on both sides of this issue, that people who want them completely not allowed at all to be in a school system, and other people who do understand that, and that's barring reasons of IEP and medical conditions, that they understand those need to come in. So have heard from folks who are that level, and then also people who are very appreciative of what we have currently and feels that that is working. So just understand we might need to tweak things a little bit to try to see where we are with particular issues. There's a couple things in the bill that I highlighted. I'm like, yeah, I don't really know that will fit with what our needs are. So just say thank you for bringing this up.
Okay, thank you. Please.
Thank you, Ms. Rose Iberg. I just wanted to piggyback on that just for the community so they understand what the current policy is. Right now, K through 8, students do turn in their cell phones into class every day. They go into a cell phone hotel, might I call it. Our high school students policy is that the students can keep the device on them. It has to be in a backpack or a pocket. It has to be out of sight. And then in between classes, if they need to check because their work texted them and say, hey, can you come in 15 minutes early today? And this is where I think we want that level of responsibility with our high school students. And when I first saw this bill, my son, a couple of years ago, had a friend that moved here from the Dominican. I'm actually going to look out at Mr. Freck out there, because I think he might know who I'm talking about, who didn't speak any English. And these communicated through Google Translate every single day, texting to each other. Now he speaks amazing English, due to classes in the high school, but also interaction with his peers. I credit having that device there so he could integrate and make friends. Technology, as we talk about technology, we can embrace it and put some strongholds around it so it's not abused, but also teach lessons and how to use it. And I think that goes with the cell phones in the school. So thank you.
Thank you. All right. Why don't we have our clerk call the roll?
Mr. Drummy? Mr. McCarthy? Yes. Ms. Spatafora?
Yes.
Ms. Macklin? Ms. Orty?
Yes.
Mr. Gray? Yes. Mr. Bernard? Yes. Ms. Rose Iberg? Yes. Mayor Christensen?
Yes, that carries unanimously. Please.
Mr. Drummy, I don't know if you could hear on that vote. I just want to give you the opportunity to voice if you are still there.
Okay. All right, very good, everyone. Now we're down to personal privilege. It's an opportunity for the school committee to announce any upcoming events. Let's see, let's go right to left. Ms. Rose Iberg.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Linden is already rolling out some events. So this Friday, September 12th, is their first ice cream social. They're always a lot of fun. That is 6 to 8 p.m. It's $5 per person for grades K to 5. Info did go home. The forms are due on the 10th, so that way they have enough time to prepare and get the right amount of ice cream. They have been encouraging 6th, 7th, and 8th graders to volunteer, which is a nice touch that they've added this year. They are looking for parents and caregivers to serve on the school site council. The form that you need to fill out for that can be found on the Facebook page, their online Linden STEAM Academy PTO page. That's due by Friday, September 12th. On September 29th will be the Tiger Trot launch. That is one of their biggest fundraisers. It is an online fundraiser. Kids collect pledges for how many numbers of laps that they can do. They have lots of different various prizes they're working on getting so that kids can actually feel a sense of accomplishment all along the way. So we're excited about that. The SDG Club is raising money for the Model UN. I was excited to hear that that is still in play and very, very active. Starting September 19th, the club will be selling popsicles to help raise money so that the kids can compete in the Model UN. Roughly, in talking to the school today, they said it's roughly about $40 a child to participate, and they have about 20 kids. It's a lot of money, as well as like a registration fee. So the PTO is helping them with some of that, but also then they are doing it on their own, raising money to be able to go. And then just long-term, October 27th through the 31st will be the book fair, which will be during the day, and they always are in need of volunteers during that time frame. And that's it. I hope to see everybody at the ice cream social. I'll be there.
Thank you very much. Over to Ms. Horty.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. From Forestdale, Mr. Wildi wants everyone to know that Back to School Night is next Tuesday, September 16th from 6 to 7:30. The PTO is holding their first meeting of the year tomorrow night, September 9th at 6 p.m. The meeting information and the Google Meet link can be found on the PTO page and the website. And I also want to just encourage everyone, now that everyone is back at school and Malden High is back and sports seasons are beginning, to really get out there and encourage our student athletes. Every time I attend a game, a meet, an activity, I wish there were more of us there to support those students. We talk about them, but we aren't often there to see their accomplishments. Just as much as I know when I attend JVs and things like that, the auditorium is filled. I know that's a one-time thing, and I'm not asking people to go all the time, but if you have spare time, it's great to see students in a different capacity. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Horty. Ms. Spatafora.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So back to school night is for the BB school is going to be held this Wednesday, 6 p.m. In addition, the PTO is throwing their back to school bash on Friday, also at 6 p.m. Tickets can be ordered on the BB PTO Facebook page. There's a link. Finally, the BB Site Council will be meeting on Wednesday, the 24th at 5 p.m., and that is on Zoom. Lastly, I just want to say I love the high school's new saying, start here, finish anywhere. It is, yeah, so we need like t-shirts. I know the high school had them on the first day. And then I just want to say a special congratulations to my daughter, who just had her second child a week ago. So welcome to the world, Silas Dawn Pounds.
All right, Mr. Bernard.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was remiss in going and asking Ms. Vann for updates, but I did want to go and thank two of our city councilors for doing an excellent job with their back-to-school night, and also the members of the school committee that came down. Ms. Horty doing an excellent job. I believe it was the snow cones. And also the Malden Key Club for doing an excellent job serving pizza and hot dogs. But a very special shout out to Ward 7's Councilor Simonelli, and a very gracious thank you to Ward 5's Ari Taylor for going and doing a very excellent job in planning this and getting it all together and making sure that all the kids had a good time and were able to go and watch an awesome movie. And I think they did a really great job. So thank you to them. Oh, and one more thing is, I believe that they're still looking for site council people, parents. I want to go and say two, but check in with Ms. Vann. She can go and she can correct me. And if you're interested, please see her. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Gray.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a few quick notes. I want to thank the school committee and the school department for all the wonderful years they helped with raising my three children from K through graduation in the Malden school system. My youngest son just finally graduated this past June. Just this past weekend, he started at Champlain College in Vermont, and he's loving it. I just want to say thank you for the wonderful job helping raise my 3 wonderful children. And now to cover some past events. We just had on August 16th an incredible movie night in Ward 6 Trafton Park. We're hoping to schedule future movie nights in Trafton Park and Ward 6 in the future. The Maplewood Association out of Ward 6 did a great job helping me organize this, and they were wonderful. Just this past weekend, we had a wonderful Malden event with Barbara Murphy, ex-council Barbara Murphy's Fairy House Festival at Pine Banks. It was great. In my opinion, it came off as something somewhat of a Comic-Con for little children. Seeing those little children building fairy houses and dressing up in fairy wings was incredible. Even I had my wings on. So you know it was fun. Now for future events. Last item, October 26th, once again, the Maplewood Association from Ward 6 will be putting on a Halloween. We're going to have our annual Halloween Fest at the Maplewood School. No, Maplewood School. There's no Maplewood School. Sorry about that. The Salemwood Auditorium. And we invite all the Malden School families, parents, children. We'll have some great acts, great games, great time, and try not to eat too much candy. So see you there. Halloween Festival, October 26th, Salemwood School. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Gray. Well said. All right, now we'll entertain a motion to go into executive session. Motion by Ms. Spatafora, seconded by Ms. Rose Zyberg. Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Drummy? Mr. McCarthy? Yes. Ms. Spatafora?
Yes.
Ms. Macklin? Ms. Horty?
Yes.
Mr. Gray? Yes. Mr. Bernard? Yes. Mr. Zyberg? Mayor Christensen?
Yes, that carries unanimously. School committee will now be in executive session. All right, everyone, school committee is back. All right, the school committee is back, and we'll entertain any motions from the members. Let's go to Ms. Spatafora.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to make the motion that we approve the SEIU Local 888 custodian contract effective July 1 for 3 years and authorize the chair to sign on behalf of the committee.
Okay, motion made, seconded by Mr. McCarthy. Any questions, everyone? Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Drummy? Mr. McCarthy? Yes. Ms. Spatafora?
Yes.
Ms. Macklin? Ms. Horty? Yes. Mr. Gray? Yes. Mr. Bernard? Yes. Ms. Rose Iberg? Yes. Mayor Christensen?
Yes. Okay, that carries unanimously. Anything else before us? Ms. Spatafora.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to make the motion that we approve 3% increase to the non-union personnel effective July 1, 2025 for 1 year, listed in the exhibit attached here too.
Seconded by Mr. McCarthy. Was it you? Mr. McCarthy seconded that, Madam Clerk. Any questions, everyone? Let's call the roll.
Mr. Drummy? Mr. McCarthy? Yes. Ms. Spatafora?
Yes.
Ms. Macklin? Ms. Horty? Yes. Mr. Gray? Yes. Mr. Bernard? Yes. Ms. Rose Iberg? Yes. Mayor Christensen?
Yes. Okay, that carries unanimously. Any other motions? Your favorite motion? Motion to adjourn by Mr. Gray, seconded by Mr. Bernard. Any discussion? Anybody want to debate? Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Drummy? Mr. McCarthy? Yes. Ms. Spatafora?
Yes.
Ms. Macklin? Ms. Horty? Yes. Mr. Gray? Yes. Mr. Bernard? Yes. Ms. Rose Iberg? Yes. Mayor Christensen?
Yes. School committee is now adjourned.